my art darlings. Know the art here with another speed paint adventure. I gotta say, this is my favorite one. Look at that cute octopus. Oh my gosh. I was so excited about this idea just because I've never drawn an octopus before and I'm not used to drawing animals, so it was really fun. How I got this idea is kind of what I want to talk about today. So, I have talked about in the past how my drawings were normally just fan art or draw this in your style or collaboration pieces, and I wasn't really producing anything of my own. Like, I had drawn original characters without them, I guess, without me realizing they were original characters. And they were okay. They were just something that I made up on the fly. But I really wanted to dive into actually making art pieces and making art concepts. And 2020, yes, was a terrible time for everyone. But I feel like that's the way that we get the Renaissance. We get a rebirth of like art. At least for me, it did. I had an explosion of ideas that happened. I talk about a few in some of my sketchbook walkthroughs. But I felt like I wasn't quite there in my artistic ability to really capture some of my ideas that I wanted. And 2021 became become the year, depending on when this video gets posted, that I really branched out into exploring my own ideas. I think that really helped when I did Inktober and I did my Monster Gals, because I made sure that each individual character was different, that they didn't look the same, they didn't have all the same skin color, hair color, eye color, they all looked different. And that's what I really wanted to go for with my artwork. And I've noticed at the starting of 2021, I've done a lot less draw this in your style pieces. Like at the beginning, I had a few because I felt the drain, the art block was definitely there. And then I started doing some stuff with my students that kind of revamped my ideas. And one of them was an art standard, actually, for the US, or at least my state that I'm in. We use the national art standards as our standards, and that is to create a piece of artwork and use art vocabulary. So I worked with my students on some art vocabulary, like lines, horizontal, diagonal, vertical, shapes, patterns, color, that sort of thing. And then they had to choose 10 of those words that we looked at and we defined, and we made a project based upon it. And my idea was a girl in a terrarium planter with terrarium plants. And oh my goodness, I was so excited for it. I was so proud of myself. I came up with that idea by just looking at a list of 10 art words and came up with something. I was like, so this is the artistic idea. This is how ideas can be made and can be created, looking at the vocabulary and putting them together to make a piece of artwork. Now, for this piece in particular, it was based upon a thing going around on Instagram. Not really a trend, but just a fun little way to kind of explore the creativity was using emojis. You're given 3 different emojis, and you have to make a picture based upon those emojis. And some of the things artists came up with were pretty good. I was very impressed. I was like, wow, I never would have thought of it that way. So I wanted to take a stab at doing it myself. Now, I asked on Instagram for some emojis, and I got one. Again, this goes back to my whole engagement thing and ghost engagement that happens when you gain a lot of followers that just, want the follower and not like the engagement participation. So I kind of had to come up with the emojis myself. And I tried to figure out, I tried to look at a group of them, and then I would pick one from that group, and then I would look at another group and pick one from that group, and so on and so forth. And so these videos that you've probably seen a few of them where I'm coloring them in with Posca markers are all from different emojis. Then from that idea, I sketched out at least 3 different sketches. Now, I'm not a big sketch person, but I think thumbnail sketches are pretty important if you want to make kind of an artistic piece. So not something to just draw and have fun with, but to actually draw an artistic piece, I would say is best to have a thumbnail sketch. Just something very basic, just getting the basic shapes out of it. It doesn't have to be fully detailed, just blocking out where things are going to go and go from there. And that's how I got a lot of these pieces. I just blocked out what I wanted, and then I did bigger sketches like on this paper, and then I'm going to use that paper to then make the paintings on the canvases that I have. And so that is how I came up with this idea. Now, that's just one way to come up with an idea, and I think it's a great way to explore the creativity and imaginative brain one person can have. I mean, look at this piece. I've got lemon earrings and an octopus on her head as her hair, and then she just kind of looks like a normal person. I mean, the color of her skin is a pinky color, but that's okay. I'm not quite sure what the third emoji was supposed to be. Maybe it was just supposed to be a girl, but it looks awesome and fantastic. I had some other ideas for this as well. For the octopus, another one was her being in a swimsuit, the octopus got stuck to her head. She was looking at octopuses in a tank, that sort of thing. And that's where those thumbnail sketches come from too, is for you to kind of explore what you want to do and what you really like. And maybe I go back to those thumbnails because there were a few that I really liked, and I would like to kind of go back to them and maybe draw them out to have the idea. Some other ways people get ideas is just through the automatism that a lot of surrealists did in the way back, is just a stream of consciousness of doodling. So it's just kind of letting your brain going on autopilot, maybe when you're in class, or you're listening to a video, or you're watching TV, and your mind begins to wander with your hand, and you just kind of start to doodle things together. And in a way, that is surrealism. You're a surrealist artist when you do that. And sometimes you come up with these strange, elaborate ideas from that subconsciousness in your brain. Another thing is some people do pieces from their dreams. I know I have an artist friend on Instagram. I'll put her name at the top because she doesn't do these elaborate, fantastic pieces, but they're so interesting and very creative from her dreams that she has, and I really enjoy them. Some artists do themes, so they have a prompt week, so children's literature or mermaid or Inktober or Um, I don't know. There's so many like prompt lists that could happen within a week. So they just come up with these ideas and then the mind flows from there. I was just looking at an artist recently. I was going to purchase some of her art. And she had like dark academia, like a sticker sheet of like different things of like astrology and astronomy and stuff like that, all based in this dark academia look. And then another one was like a coffee shop. And so it was different things about coffee and that sort of thing. Another way to maybe gain ideas is Pinterest is a great way, since they have those boards. You can like pin the things and gain inspiration from there if you need it. That's where I get a lot of my inspiration for my drawings as well, is that I look at the things that I have pinned. Like if there's a picture of a queen and I like her gown, maybe I'll draw my character or my original character in that gown, or I come up with my own story in my head, as I really like that gown, or I like a section of that gown, or I like the texture of that gown, and I'll create a piece that way. Getting an idea can be quite hard. You don't want to like push yourself too hard, because that's also when you start to get art block. You really don't want to be in that position where it's like, if I don't have an idea, I'm not going to make art. And then that's kind of where the motivation stops. I know I just looked at a thing that was like, your motivation should not be the reason for you to do something. You should do something and then your motivation happens. I think that's important to understand, that you don't have the motivation to do something. Like if you want to draw, and then maybe the motivation to make an interesting art piece will happen. It's just when we get into these art blocks, a lot of people are like, draw, or this or that. And I'm like, sometimes with art block, you just need to stop and maybe go watch your favorite show, or watch a movie, or read a book, or maybe just sit there and stare off into space. Watch a YouTube video that you like. You don't have to do artistic stuff, and maybe the idea will come to you that way, and then you'll get out of it. And it's okay if the art block is going to be for a really long time. You want to give yourself sufficient time to get the ideas flowing back into your creative brain that you have. And sometimes it takes longer for others, and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. For me, 2020 and 2021 have been a great eye opener of artistic creativity for me, and I know it hasn't for many. And sometimes I feel guilty, and I know I should not feel guilty about this, because that's what happens. Life happens. And for me, being inside, being able to tell my brain to slow down, relax, kind of helped me draw and come up with my own ideas. I had said this before, that I wanted to start selling my artwork, and being on like Redbubble and Imprint and Society6, you have to have your own stuff. You can't sell fan art, even though some people do anyway, but that's beside the point. Some of your stuff will get flagged if it's like fan art, especially on Redbubble if it's named from the TV show. I've found out, but I would say that is the reason why I got into telling myself that I needed to be more creative. I needed to come up with my own ideas, and that was a nice kick in the butt for me. It probably won't be a kick in the butt for you, but it is something to consider when you are working on artwork. Is it just fan art to get followers, or are you making stuff that's for you? And with that, I'm going to leave you with that thought. You can leave your comments down below. Make sure to subscribe and like this video if you want me to talk about more of like my process. Otherwise, sleep well, eat well, stay hydrated, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!